Hey everyone, welcome to this edition or episode of Life in 15. I feel like I need to give you an explanation, short one, about what happened with my episode last week. Put it short, I messed up. After I recorded the episode, I made a mistake of uploading it to Facebook before I put it on YouTube. Apparently, YouTube was highly offended, and I ended up having to delete my post on Facebook after some of you saw and liked the post. When I did follow the proper procedures, first thing some of you saw on Facebook was me with my hand in my face doing some kind of gang sign or symbol. Okay, lesson learned. Now on to the next lesson in my life, which I'm sure there's a lot left to learn. I was reminded of something one of my counseling buddies told me when we were having a golf round, and I was having what is one of my all too common bad days on the golf course. I think I just hit the second ball into the water hazard and was more than just a tad upset. He looked at me and said, "Billy, you know, it just wouldn't be fair to the rest of us if you were good at everything. So, I hope you were encouraged by my very public display of one of the many areas I'm not good at." Today, I want to dive into something I think we all struggle with to a certain extent. That's apologies and forgiveness. Let me ask you, have you ever apologized to someone only to receive a lecture in return? Or maybe you've been on the receiving end of an apology that you knew felt very insincere. This week I want to talk about the proper way to apologize and the proper way to respond when someone says, "I'm sorry." I recently, or I guess a few years ago now, had my own humbling experience with this. I made a comment that unintentionally offended someone. After I reflected on it, I put myself in their shoes and I realized how my words could have hurt them. So I wrote what I thought was a sincere apology to the person. I acknowledged what I had done wrong, took full responsibility, and I expressed to them that I'd learned a valuable lesson from the experience. I even thanked them for helping me recognize this blind spot in my life and in my ministry. But instead of acceptance, I received more lectures and accusations about being intolerant and closed-minded. There was no acknowledgement that my apology had even been heard. This experience got me thinking deeply about the whole process. First of all, what makes a good apology? And secondly, what's the right way to receive or to respond when somebody apologizes to us? Let's face it, apology isn't easy for anyone involved. When we apologize properly, we're performing a humbling act. We're establishing and confirming our guilt. We're accepting responsibility for causing harm or offense. Now, this is incredibly hard on our pride. As humans, we naturally resist admitting when we're wrong, especially to others. It makes us feel like we failed and forces us to become emotionally vulnerable, a word that a lot of people don't like, vulnerable. Apologies come in a lot of different forms. Sometimes they are expressions of empathy, showing we understand someone's pain. I thought I had included that in my apology. Another form of an apology, sometimes they're quick responses to a minor incident, like you bump into somebody accidentally. Sometimes they need to be heartfelt acknowledgments of a serious wrongdoing. Let me share with you the rest of this time a sincere apology and what it includes. And I think it includes 4 key elements. The first element that you need to include in your apology is clearly describe the problem as you understand it. This shows you reflected on what happened. Second, explain why it happened. Now, this is not an excuse, but as context that helps the other person understand you a little better. Third, express genuine regret. And look, this isn't just saying sorry, but it's communicating that you truly wish you had acted differently. Fourth, way to make this apology, make a promise as best you can not to repeat the offensive action that you took. What this does, it looks toward the future relationship. When you say I'm sorry, you're demonstrating really respect for the person you've hurt. You're saying, I care about you, and recognize I made a mistake. At its core, an apology is asking for forgiveness. Now, that's how you make an apology. Let's look at how we should respond when somebody apologizes to us. This brings us to a difficult word I mentioned just a minute ago. That's the word forgiveness. The real question is, am I going to forgive this person or not? And the answer shouldn't depend solely on whether their apology meets our standards. Let me let that hang in the air a minute. Or this apology, that we think they should be making. And let me tell you why I say that. In Matthew 18, Jesus tells a powerful story about forgiveness. A man owed an impossible debt, more than he could repay in multiple lifetimes. And he was about to lose everything. To everybody's shock, the creditor forgave the entire debt. Can you imagine relief? If somebody came to my house and said, look, you don't owe any more in your house, we're forgiving that debt. But then that same man who was forgiven encountered somebody who owed him a tiny amount. Instead of showing the same mercy that he had received, he demanded immediate payment, showed no compassion. Okay, the message is clear. Before we judge others harshly, we should remember how much forgiveness we needed in our own lives. So how do we respond when someone apologizes to us? Let me quickly run through 3 important steps. Step 1, self-appraisal. Do a heart scan. Ask yourself, am I perfect? Or have I needed forgiveness before? Will I be like the first creditor who showed mercy, or the second who refused to forgive even a small debt after being forgiven such a massive one? A second step, respond honestly. Be truthful about your feelings. If you're struggling to forgive, admit it. Thank them for their apology and continue working through the issue. Here's the word again, vulnerability can actually strengthen your relationship. Step 3, forgive and move on. Now, I know that's hard. I'm not just trying to throw out something here, just a little saying to prove my point. Forgiveness, depending on how much hurt was involved, is hard. A person who hadn't learned to forgive, though, carries unnecessary pain in an already challenging world. Here's the most misunderstood fact about forgiveness. While it's a gift to the other person, it's an even greater gift to ourselves. A friend once told me every unforgiving offense is like a unforgiven offense. I'll get it out in a minute. Is like a meat hook in our soul. It's tethered to that painful memory. And every time we try to move forward in life, we are dragged by that offense, and we're dragging it with us. Imagine carrying a lifetime of those hooks. It's exhausting. If we want to be free from the pain of the past hurt, we have to unhook and move on. So my advice today is simple. Unhook, forgive, I promise it'll do you good. Thanks again for watching. If this has resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. In the comments, let me know about your experience with apologies and forgiveness. All right, till next time, I pray you have a blessed week. See you next Tuesday.